Yeah, just hit the camera button, that red one next to the calculator. Bop, 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 burrino. I love how we're just like always on the same wavelength. Bum, 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 bum. Now I stopped it too late. I just can't get it right. All right. I'm sorry. I was about to hop into it because, oh my God, do I have things to say today? I have things. Let's start with an introduction. Hey, everybody out there. I am your host of this wonderful podcast, Adventures in Vanderland. My name is Vanessa A. Mans. You can find me on Instagram at mindofvans.com with periods in between. And this is my lovely co-host.
Hey there, I am Sylvia from Maiden of the Forest. You can find me on your Instagram with Maiden of the Forest tarot underscores in between each word so you know what you're reading. I am your energy alchemist and tarot reading and tools giver and guide.
I still can't believe I thought you were meant like what you were like tarot reading. Okay. Anywho, all right. So even though this is like, I don't know, episode 6 or something, last week we did our second take of episode 1 and we went in.
We went hard.
We went so hard on a lot of these Disney princes, especially like the OGs, the princesses, the OG 3, what I call them. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and what's the other one? Snow White. They're forgettable. I'm gonna try. But here's the thing. We left the studio last week, and on my drive home, and like, you know, later that day, I was like, did we go too hard? Like, are there some redeeming qualities like about these people, these characters, or whatever? So I spent the last few days rewatching the OG threes, and Cinderella too for no good reason. It was stupid. She was barely even in that one.
So
But
wait, you watched Cinderella 2, but you didn't watch the Snow White Happily Ever After?
that's not Disney.
It's amazing.
Okay, I'm focusing on Disney right now, though.
Snow White was a Disney character.
I'll get there. You have to give me time.
Okay.
Give me time. Give me time. Okay. I have notes. I have 3 pages of notes, y'all, because when I tell you I rewatched this, and man, my mind went to some places. So let me take a deep breath. Let's start with the original. Snow White. So, first of all, I realized that Snow White's prince was not charming. He was Florian. Did you know that?
I don't know what Florian is.
That's his name.
Oh. I thought that was like an adjective that I had no idea what that's a name. Okay.
His name was Prince Florian. I remembered that.
So
Yeah, very interesting. I also realized that he basically like broke and entered. I thought like I remember
he did a B&A.
he did a B&E basically. Like Snow White was, first of all, she was just hanging out singing by a well, and this fool like jumped over her wall like he was Humpty Dumpty, like just falling for her acapella or whatever, her little whistling, and started like, first of all, he scared the bejeebus out of her. And then she like ran into the castle and he's over here just finishing singing her song. He's like, I'm gonna acapella you now. And then she's like, oh, okay, I kind of like it. I'm like, this is weird. It's even weirder than I thought, but I just like kind of knew each other before he was like making out with her corpse.
That's gross.
But that was the other thing, is that I didn't realize that the evil queen actually knew she wasn't putting her to death. It was, the spell was called the sleeping death. So it wasn't really that she was trying to kill her. She was just trying to make her sleep endlessly.
Mhm.
So, and she also knew that there was a clause that a true love's kiss could break it, but she just figured no normal person would keep a corpse, like, up out in the forest. They thought they would just bury her alive.
Mm.
So I was like, "That's very interesting."
So then she wouldn't have died from the spell, she would have died from suffocation?
Technically. I
It's
was
an
like, "That's a
interesting way
new
to
level of
go.
evil," which I think when we did our ranking episode, if I had known that, she might have been ranked higher a little bit.
Diabolical.
That was diabolical, if you will, but there's that. Now, go to my notes here because oh, also, there was more ADHD stuff that I found out about Snow White. Do you remember the part when, like, the huntsman was, like, about to kill her, and then she goes running away?
Into the forest?
The way that she was seeing scary things on trees and, like, logs, like, the scary thing like, she thought she was having, like she almost had a heart attack, she had a panic attack seeing all these, like, horrible, crazy creatures, like, hallucinating, but it's broad daylight, I'm like, "Trees don't look that scary in the middle of the day. Are you crazy?"
That's interesting.
But, yeah, I think she also has, like, serious ADHD or she's a little bit of a narcissist because, when she did finally find the house, like, she's like, "Hey, forest animals, come in here and help me clean this house so these people will let me stay here." I'm like, "You're manipulative as fuck." Oh,
She didn't
I
really
sorry,
do
I said I was gonna swear.
she didn't do much work, she was like, "I'll have everyone else do it."
She basically had these animals doing free labor, and then I don't know, I couldn't get into it. I mean, I don't know, I wasn't thrilled with her, but my other notes actually, I'm gonna pause because I realized, like, I don't know, I something else about doing these 3 movies made me realize I don't think that the villains are the villains. I think the dwarves were a little bit villainous. Do you agree?
I'm waiting to hear your reasoning behind this before I agree or not.
First of all, they knew that the evil queen was into sorcery. They knew she did the dark magic, and they left her alone. They knew it. They're like, "Don't open the door for anybody," but she was 15. I think she might have actually been 14 if, like, recollection serves. She was a teenager. Teenagers don't listen, as we know. So, like, why wouldn't one of them stay with her? At least one of them. 6
At
people go
least
mine.
Dopey.
Dopey could have protected her. Dopey would have just annoyed the shit out of the queen, and she would have left. Anyway, I digress.
Maybe they didn't think that the queen knew I was gonna say, maybe they didn't think the queen knew where that they lived or was able to
She
see
had the magic
them.
mirror. That was the
But do they know that she had a magic?
I mean, how would the magic mirror know that she wasn't the fairest in the land if it didn't know that Snow White was still in the land?
No, no, no. Did the dwarves know?
About the mirror?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Like
highly
like
like
how are you gonna
I
know if you've never been in
honestly,
the castle? You know what I mean?
I I would have to go back again, but I believe Grumpy especially, he was in the know. I'm pretty sure there was a line in there where he was like, "She has her magic mirror and blah, 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 and she watches it." I'm pretty sure he said that. He made a comment about it, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure he did.
I'm just saying
They knew what was up.
if some random person came into my doorstep, first off, I'm going to ignore you because of the
Stranger
times.
danger.
But if I was one of those dwarves, I'd be like, "Why are we taking this person in? Why are we putting them in the house?" And then after putting them in the house, I'd be like, "Well, I gotta go to work, so bye." It's not like an evil thing. I'm just like, I got stuff to do. You just came in here and popped into my house unexpectedly."
Actually, that makes her slightly a villain too. Like, Snow White and the dwarves were the villains in that story.
Everyone has a part.
Everyone has a part, for sure. Also, the huntsman was like, why did he even go back to the queen after not doing what she told him to do? Like, he had to have known that she was gonna find out and then, like, seek revenge.
Yeah, are you trying to die? Because that's how you die.
It's like he's trying to die, but he's also trying to make sure that she's like, "Yeah, now I gotta go really kill this bitch myself." I swear I'm gonna stop swearing. Maybe I'll beep them out. I think I said that before and I never did. It's okay. All right, I'm gonna calm down. Any thoughts you have before we move on about Snow White?
Not really any. Not really any because, about Snow White, the character, or about the whole movie in general?
Any of the characters or the film? Like, do we still think she's as stupid as we thought she was?
I think she has more credit of being able to manipulate the animals and certain things and situations into her favor.
Mhm.
So maybe not dumb. I didn't call her dumb. I called Sleeping Beauty dumb, by the way. Um,
Oh, that was okay, so
which
let's talk
we'll get into that
yeah, let's
one.
talk about that one then. So, Sleeping Beauty, going back to my notes. Oh, no, I lost where okay. Yeah. Um, that one, I don't think that she was actually that dumb. I realized watching the movie, nobody actually told her not to touch the spindle,
You see something sharp though, right?
but
It's
she was
sharp, it's gleaming, it gleamed.
but also Maleficent at the time, like, she was in her room crying over, like, not being able to marry this random dude that she met in the forest. She was upset that she just found out she was a princess, by the way. And so she's upset, and as she's crying, Maleficent, like, did a woo like, I don't know, some kinda hoodoo or something on her, and, like, she was basically hypnotized into walking like, a wall from her chimney or something disappeared and turned into a tunnel, and it was just like she was dazed out, just, like, going, and Maleficent was calling to her, touch the spindle," like,
Okay. Yeah, no, she
so
was
nobody ever told her she was actually told to do it.
yeah, okay. I can see how as someone that was portrayed as a witch would have the power to give her visions to then manipulate her and make her touch the spindle. Fine.
No,
I'll give
she
it that.
she wasn't it wasn't even like a hallucination. Maleficent removed a wall and then put it back. And this was another part, like, the fairies in that movie were the villains. Can't tell me anything otherwise. It was the fairies that were the villains. Okay, so first of all, they go to this party and actually also Stefan was definitely a villain, but we don't see that part of it in this film, so we're not gonna reference that.
Mhm. It's
But
been a
he
long time since I've seen the film, so you're gonna have to keep explaining.
all right. I also think that Hubert was a villain. So and Hubert was, Philip's father, the other king. So, yeah, with the fairies, like, from the beginning, they're at this christening. First of all, you know what I realized? Homeboy Philip was, like, 7, 8 years old when he was going to, like, baby Aurora's christening, like, she was a brand newborn. I'm like, "Gross." So on her 16th birthday, when you're, like, chatting her up in the woods, you're well into your 20s.
I mean, that's kind of
Mm.
accurate though. For,
Mm.
like, medieval times or way back then, like, people
Fine.
were in bound of contract marriage. It wasn't for love or whatever, it was for establishing kingdoms and rule and or peace or bringing allies to the kingdom.
Fine. We'll go with the times. Still gross.
Still gross, yeah.
I mean, like, what if but I you know what it
Like, I've
is?
loved you since you were an infant. You.
Like, I knew you before you had teeth. You were a beautiful
I
baby.
knew you before you had your first set of
I
teeth.
remember changing your first diaper. Come on. And can you imagine, like, if this whole thing wasn't, like if the whole thing didn't happen and she was allowed to just grow up where she was and they were, like, cool friends or whatever, they wouldn't really have been friends because he would have been a whole teenager when she was still, like, playing with baby dolls. Like, there wouldn't have been a relationship until she was of age.
How old was she in the woods?
16. It was and that's the other thing, okay? So, the fairies kill and give her these, like, whatever gifts. Maleficent comes in and puts the curse on her. So, the solution is to bring her to the woods until after her 16th birthday because after that, then she's not going to be cursed. Like, she has no chance of
Yeah,
touching the
try and,
spindle
like,
on her.
keep her safe and away
Right.
from the castle.
So these 3 fairies disguise themselves as humans, say that they're her aunts or something, and live in the forest with her for 16 years, never tell her that she's a princess,
Hide their magic.
hide their magic until she's out in the woods, but then they magic it up, and because they're fighting over what freaking color to make the dress, they have all this magic poof, poof, poofing out the roof and give away their location.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
So now they are the cause of the problem. But then why didn't they bring her back the day after her 16th birthday? No, they bring her back the night of her 16th birthday. And now she's upset because she wants to marry the boy in the woods. The guy is upset because he wants to marry a peasant girl in the woods. They don't know that they're gifted the magi-ing each other. Like so annoyed. Anyway, but, like and then when they finally get there, they're still running around like humans instead of just ferrying it back going back into fairy so that they could try to stop the chick from hitting the spindle. Like, Maleficent, when I tell you, she opened a wall in the girl's bedroom and had her like, "Whoa, go walk this way, go touch the spindle." Like, then close the walls and, like, 2 seconds later, the fairies are in there like, "We have to find her. We have to find her," before they finally open the wall, and then they go through there. It's like, why didn't you do that, I don't know, the first 5 seconds? Like, why were you spending, like, a minute or 5 minutes running around the room when you were right outside the door? You know she didn't walk out the door. She could only be somewhere in the walls. I don't know.
Mhm.
Or out the window. It was maddening. I'm, like, getting off topic. Anyway, but then, so then Maleficent, like, leads her to the spindle. She touches it, and then, of course, they get there 2 seconds too late. But what do? They said, "Oh, the king is gonna be so upset." She's like then I think it was that Merryweather. She goes, "We're not going to tell him." They put the entire kingdom to sleep to freaking hide their mistake. They are the villains.
Okay, yep, I agree.
And then they did this, and if it
And
was
it's all because of ego, by the way.
absolutely, and if it wasn't for Hubert, when they were putting him to sleep, he started muttering as he was going down, "Blah, blah, once upon a dream, blah, blah, blah." Like, he was doing some craziness like that, and because he said the "once upon a dream," which is something that Aurora and Philip both said, they're like, "Once upon a dream? Oh, the boy she met in the forest today was the prince. Let's go find him." If he didn't say that, they would have just stayed asleep forever. The whole kingdom.
Folks, you can't see it, I'm shaking my head.
Oh my gosh. My heart is actually racing right now. I'm so heated about this. Oh my gosh. Oh, let me go back to my notes because I feel like I got lost somewhere over
Can you
here.
imagine being, like, just, like, a person in the village who was put to sleep, and then you wake up and, like, you were like, "Hey, it's Tuesday," and then you wake up and you're like, "How did it become Friday?"
Would they even know? It would actually be Friday, but everybody would just think that it's still Tuesday, and then one day that they would just, like, meet other people like, why are you 3 days behind, guys?" Did you know, like, randomly in, I don't know, some random year in the 12th or 13th century, they just skipped a few weeks in October? Like, it went from October 1st to October 15th, and they did that so that they could change the calendar.
Wait, for real, for real?
Yeah, like, for real, this is a real fact, random fact. I have so many random
I'm
factoids in my
sorry,
head.
my brain needs to wrap around that again. Can you say it one more time?
Eh, oh, I can't explain the whole thing, but basically when they were changing from, I guess, maybe the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, is that the one we're using now? But whatever. So to make the days line up with the moon or the stars or whatever, they just decided to we're gonna just skip 2 weeks. So they just went from, like, the 1st to the 15th. Apparently, if you
Um,
have an Apple device, you can go to that year and you can see where it went from
they coulda just kept having 28-day months and 13
that
months.
would have been too complicated.
That one worked with the moon. So, you just you're the problem. They're the
100%.
problem.
100%. Okay. Any other I think I covered everything, I think I covered everything
So, would
with
you say Maleficent is
Sleeping
really the
Beauty.
villain?
Maleficent? No, I think we've established that she is not the villain. First of all, she was just pissed that she didn't get invited to the party. We already know the backstory that there was actually way more backstory to that. But if you want to go just off of
The
this,
OG.
the OG story, she was pissed that she was like left out. She had a little bit of FOMO, and these other chicks just rubbed their like her face in it. They're
Like,
like,
"Hey, I'm a powerful witch too." Like, "Okay,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna give her a gift."
like they basically ganged up on her. You ask me.
As a whole kingdom. I'd be a little salty about that too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Maleficent was definitely not the villain. And then she got pissed off because like these people broke into her castle, released her prisoner. I mean, I'd be pissed too.
Listen, I'm an angry dragon if you just wake me up early. Just yeah,
I'm an angry dragon when I see stupidity.
and that's a whole 'nother thing.
Anyway, so Cinderella.
Okay, let's get into it.
They really did not give this dude a name. I ended up Googling it
The
and
prince?
the prince. In later stories or something, I think they tried giving him the name Henry, but it didn't really stick. Like they just named him Prince Charming because they couldn't be bothered to give him an actual name. So there's that. There's also the fact that this chick, I don't know if we talked about how ADHD she was. She had time blindness for real, for real. Like, she knew exactly what she was supposed to do when she was supposed to do it, and she just, like, I don't know, got caught up. She hyper focused.
Yeah, hyper fixated on all the chores and cleaning and
But my biggest takeaway was at the ball, she didn't ask who she was dancing with either. She as much flack as we give the prince for not, like, remembering her face or asking her name, she never asked either. When the bell struck midnight and she started running away, her excuse was, "Oh, I have to go. I didn't even dance with the prince." And he's like, hey,
Hi.
do you see my royal sash over here? Like, do
It's
you" he's like, "Did you not know?" He
and
literally said that.
I've got fringe on my shoulders.
He's like, "Who do you think I am? I'm literally the only dude here." So it's like, who did she think she was talking to the entire night? Who did she think she was falling in love with? And also, if she was already falling in love with this guy, why do you need to go dance with the prince now? I'd be pissed. Why was he even looking for her? He said, first of all, she doesn't even realize that I'm the prince. Second of all, she's about to ditch me to go find the prince. I'd be pissed.
Like, "Oh, actually, I wonder if the prince was like, maybe she's kind of a gold digger."
Maybe.
Like, if I'm the prince and I'm dancing with some chick, and then she's like,
I
"Oh,
w-
I gotta go," and I didn't even dance with the prince, and be like,
I wanna give her the benefit of the doubt and say maybe she was just saying that as an excuse to get away, but I don't actually believe that.
I don't know."
I mean, we can if I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, I could say that that was her trying to make an excuse or trying to play dumb. I don't know. But yeah, she and then okay, the villain though, multiple villains here.
Okay.
The first one is absolutely the king. The only reason that this whole story happened was because he was obsessed with wanting grandchildren because his son grew up and left him. His son was off doing his own thing, adulting, and he's like, "I want more people. I want more children in the castle." He basically wanted to relive his parenthood through his grandchildren. He wanted the pitter patter. He literally said, "I want the pitter patter of little feet around the castle again." So he forced his son to have this ball that he had no interest or intention. He had no interest in marrying or doing a ball, none of this. He didn't want it. He was bored out of his mind the whole time until he met Cinderella and was like, "Oh, this chick is kinda hot, like, let me just talk to her for a minute." And then, like, that's how that whole thing happened. Then also, he would, like with the Grand Duke, his, like, little dude with the
Oh,
monocle,
yeah.
I mean,
Didn't he like throw his sword at him?
he was swinging a sword at him. He cut a table, he cut candles, he cut his cigar in half after
That's right,
giving
the cigar.
I mean, he cut his bed, he chopped down the chandelier. He was
Unstable.
So reckless with that bloody sword.
Unstable, chaotic, toxic energy.
Right. And then he got pissed at the Grand Duke for not, like, getting the prince to marry Cinderella at the end. He went to bed. He didn't see it through. He didn't make sure that the prince found a woman and decided to marry her. He's, like, waking up the next day like, "Oh, is it all settled then? Well, no, actually, she ran away and we can't find her." And he's like, "Ah!" It's like, why don't you take some accountability? If you want things done, you gotta do it yourself, king. Whatever.
Ew.
What's that?
Sorry, I was thinking about the king having more babies.
I don't think he wanted his well,
You said do it yourself, and I just went there.
ew. Oh, okay. You went a different way with that. Okay. I see what you did there. The other villain, though, the fairy godmother. Where was she? This girl had years and years of being used and abused and taken advantage of. And where was the fairy godmother until 2 hours before she had to come back home? So pissed. I
Dude,
mean
how many years did Cinderella have
I
that
mean,
stepmother and the sisters?
she was a little girl, and I mean,
She must have been like 5 or 6, right?
give or take, and then,
And then
like,
10 years?
if it wasn't 10 years or more, because she seemed like she was well into adulthood. I don't have facts on how old she actually was in this movie, but she looked like she was in her late teens, if not her early 20s. So, I don't really know. But,
Yeah, like, how are you gonna just stand idly by, like, "Oh, it's fine. Oh, okay, hey, I'm your fairy godmother."
I will say, um, one of the things that we do realize that I realized is that she didn't just automatically get forced to be the maid of the house. After the father died, the stepmother just, like, spent all of the money that they had, and it's not like she was working for herself. So, to save on labor costs, that's why they made Cinderella start maiding. So, it wasn't like automatically, "Daddy's dead, start cleaning." It wasn't like that.
Hmm. I guess that kinda also makes sense with, the Happily Ever After, but I know we're talking about the OG, so I won't
Mhm.
go into that. But
The tapestries and
and the
the candlesticks.
candlesticks!
My favorite line. Oh gosh. Okay. Other notes. Yeah, so the fairy godmother definitely like a villain. Why was she like she couldn't give her till 1 o'clock? Why midnight? Or why not come earlier? What like she must have known that she had to have been watching over this girl her whole life. And she must have seen hours beforehand when Drusilla and Anastasia ripped up her dress or whatever. She coulda came then and brought like, boom, bibbity bobbity, boom, bibbity bobbity. Let me give you some new dress. Like, why did she have to have the mice make her a dress?
Also, how why couldn't she, like, do some magic on the sisters and the mom? Like, why couldn't she make them mice?
Wait, I thought you meant to make them nice. She
No,
said make them
mice. Make
mice.
them mice. You know
No.
what? Like, here you go. You wanna treat her this way, you wanna do this, you wanna be that, well, here you go. Now you're gonna be mice for a whole week.
Can I tell you in Cinderella too? I guess they made one of the mice a human. He wanted to be big. So they made him a human. It was weird. I didn't actually watch it. It was kind of on and Jacoby was watching it, and I was kinda listening and doing work, but whatever. I was like, "This is really weird." It was weird. And then there's a 3rd one too. I didn't get into
Eh,
it.
I didn't know
So,
there was even a second or third one.
there was no I'm pretty sure there's no point for it, but there is. Go figure. Let me just check my notes. I think I went over everything. Yeah. Did we talk about Cinderella being, like, neurospicy? Oh, yeah, her time blindness.
We did
Look
talk
at me
about her
being
time
neurospicy.
blindness, her hyperfixations, but also, like, she is also the type that gets things done in one swoop. Like, she's not the type that will go up and down, up and down,
Oh,
up
that's
and down
true.
stairs to do the dishes.
Oh, no,
She's got all the
she had a
towels on.
tr she had a tray on
Like
her
she had a
head,
tray on her head, one on each hand. She
and
was
I was
like, "I'm
like,
not doing this more than
I
3 times."
I
Like,
kept like, that was another thing I noticed. So, like, when she went to bring the 3 of them breakfast, she had their 3 trays, 2 in her hands and 1 on her head, and she went into the first room, and I guess, I don't know, put the tray down and took a basket, and I'm like, "How's she supposed to what why?" She didn't even put the basket down before she went into the second room and put the tray down and then took the another basket of
and she
clothes,
still got the thing on her head.
and I was like, how do you get the one off your head? Tell me. You have to put it down, girl. You just have to put it down.
Put it down.
Just put it down for 2 seconds.
But
Oh,
that's like that, like, defiance of, like, "I got it." Like, "I'm doing it." Like, "I
oh,
got
for
this." Like,
sure.
that's definitely a trait there too.
Oh, for sure. Oh, and she did not wanna wake up. I think I thought that she was, like, cool with, like, waking up and, doing her chores.
Oh, no, the animals were
She
like,
said
"Hello, nip, nip,
she
pick,
said,
peck."
"Oh, that old clock." I was like, "Oh, that chick she is not a morning person." I don't think a lot of us are.
I thought it was kinda cute how she took a shower, though, but then also kinda weird,
Also very weird
like, unhygienic.
because, like, yeah, you got birds and mice just running all over you and crawling all over you, and then the mice was all up in the cups and things. It's like, y'all just eating off the mice and y'all, that's nasty. I know that they're your friend, but then she also had a drawer full of clothes. Like, when did you have time to make little tiny mice clothes?
Aw.
Why are you clothing all the animals?
Well, I mean, another thing of traits of ours that's probably maybe not seen there is, like, sometimes we're up late, like, just on projects,
That's what I'm
considering
saying.
you
That's
were
why she's not a morning person.
I mean, like, this
I
is you with your
I
notes
woke
up
up
late.
okay, I woke up this morning at 2 o'clock, and my brain could not shut off, and I was thinking, and that's when this happened. I also already got ideas for a season 2 and a season 3, guys. So many things coming down the pipeline. Make sure you can stay tuned, keep following,
But,
like,
like
share, subscribe.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's a trait too.
Interrupted as I do it back.
Thank you for patting me on the shoulder. You're like, "It's okay, I get it."
I do get it.
Um,
Nobody gets it better than me.
but yeah, like, she probably was up late and was like, "Oh, what am I gonna do?" And then she sees, like, these, like, mice that are naked. She's like, "Oh, it'd be cute if I gave you folks, little shoes and booties and little shirts and hats. Why no pants?" I don't know.
I thought the same thing, especially with Gus. He was, like, so chunky. He was a chunky little mouse, and he couldn't get the shirt. Why she only made 1 size, by the way. Mice come in different sizes.
I love Gus Gus. He's so cute.
Gus. Anyway, but, like, the thing barely fits. She's like, that's gonna have to do for now." But, like, he could use some pants. Just saying. Like, the other guys had, like, long jackets and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird. Alright.
Any other villains in Cinderella?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say that the sisters they were like villain lights. I mean, they were just mostly mean girls. I wouldn't call them
They
villains
were like mean sidekicks.
for sure.
Yeah.
They wanted to be Regina George, but they weren't as good.
No. No, if anyone was Regina George, it was the
Lady
mother.
Tremaine was a Regina George.
I'm sorry, for a villain though, she was
She
fabulous.
was absolutely fabulous. Just
Fabulous.
like, "Come here, Cinderella." She said, "The windows? Wash them. The laundry? Mend it." I said, "Yes." Honestly, I love her parts the
Like,
most. Can we
talk
get a Lady Tremaine movie?
like, talk about a woman standing in power and demanding
And she was
things.
laying in her bed with the curtain still half drawn.
And it almost looked like she had, like, eyeliner still on. Like,
Oh,
she
absolutely.
woke up with, like, beautiful lashes,
Oh,
makeup
absolutely.
on.
I love
Everything
that
is
her
in
eyes
place.
she had the green eyes too, right? Like,
Yeah, the close-ups of her eyes, and then having the villainous cat on her.
reminds me of that evil guy from Inspector Gadget.
Oh, yes, yes,
The
with
claw?
the yeah.
I know, not Disney, but it's okay. Not everything has to be Disney related.
Oh, so then Snow White too.
Okay, I
Okay.
will watch it.
Okay, okay. I
Even
digress.
okay, but where's the Snow White one? I
What do you
think
mean?
that's my issue, is that if it's okay, because you said that it was Black Cauldron.
Oh, no, it's, actually Film Nation.
Okay.
I looked that up.
So where's the Film Nation Snow White one?
They didn't do one. They took the story from Snow White from Disney, and they decided that we're gonna make a second Snow White Happily Ever After of them with, Snow White and the prince getting ready to get married.
Okay.
And with that, what happens is they're trying to get married and the witch is dead and they're in a field and it's the brother of the evil queen
Okay.
that comes in as a dragon and swoops Snow White away.
Okay.
But then she gets away and he takes the prince. And then she has to save the prince.
Did they give him a name?
I don't remember.
Because now his
Sh
name is Florian. So if they don't call him Florian, I am not about it.
I don't know, I don't remember, it was a lot of just the prince.
And there weren't the dwarves.
No, it was the dwarfels.
So what happened to the dwarves?
They moved. They did so well with the gold mine and, like, the coal mining that they, like, were able to move, and the dwarfels were gifted that cottage. So
So
when
what were
and
the
they were trying to Snow White and the prince were trying to invite the dwarves to the wedding, so they were looking for that cottage, but Snow White found them, and it was the dwarfels. And instead of mining, they had all special magical powers.
so what did they do with those powers?
You're gonna have to tune in and watch.
Okay, fine. You said it's on the YouTube?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Okay.
It's 1 hour and
All right.
11 minutes.
I w
111.
I will do that homework.
Okay, you'll give me
What
homework, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm totally gonna give you homework. Um, what should we talk about next time?
Well, you said you have a lot of ideas.
There's so many.
Are we going to talk
Oh,
about the evolution of the films?
that was another idea that I have so many ideas. Did I ever show you my idea list?
Yes, you did. And that was before we even started this podcast,
I
but
know.
I'm sure that list got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Actually, I haven't it actually technically got smaller because some of the things on that list we already have done and we combined them, like doing like I had ranking different, each one being a different thing, like
Mhm.
doing the princes, doing the villains, doing the whatever. I mean, we could do some more rankings or some comparisons
We could
since
do rankings. We could do comparisons. I really like the evolutions idea.
let's go evolutions.
Okay. So, like, the evolution of the story of the OGs to the Renaissance to, like, the
Yeah.
evolutions of the princesses.
I'm gonna just binge like all the
Um,
movies. I watched Mulan over the weekend too. Um,
the original or the remake?
the original. I tried to do the remake, but my son wouldn't allow it. And then we ended up watching Karate Kid, the one with Jaden Smith. But anyway, yeah, I watched that, and that movie was fabulous. I forgot how good that movie was.
Karate Kid?
No,
Oh, Mulan.
Mulan.
Okay, I was like, "Wait a minute, huh?"
Yeah. So I would definitely get into, I love Mushu.
Alright,
It
so,
made me
yeah,
think about doing sidekicks.
we've definitely got some things that we still haven't done the sidekicks.
We have not talked enough about sidekicks yet, and so I
Yeah.
think we need to get into doing some sidekick work, but let's
We're
talk about evolutions.
evolutions of
Do we have to talk about
princesses.
these OG3s again since we just talked about them to
Well, we can end it with this, like, right? With the OG princesses, they were also done at a completely different time where
Oh,
women
yeah.
were completely thought of
They
very
were
differently.
silent
Women
in
were
those films.
supposed to be silent. They were supposed to be adaptable. They were supposed to be, you know, soft
Yeah.
and someone to save, right?
Mhm.
Whereas now we're evolved in a many, many ways, and this is a completely different time. And women have voices, they have strength,
Absolutely.
untapped power, and now we get to thrive in it and embrace it. And hopefully, we can continue doing that in these times.
Oh, we will.
I
We will. Alright, well, I think that's our show for today.
think so too.
Alright, well, make sure you come back next week. We're dropping episodes every Friday. We are on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on YouTube. So you can watch us and not just listen to us because, man, you should see some of the reactions and facial expressions. And the beautiful headgear this woman has
Oh my
on today.
gosh.
Listen, if you're listening to this episode, I mean, don't stop, finish it. That's beautiful. Make sure you just go onto a YouTube or Spotify has video so you can actually see this beautiful getup she has on. You got to see it. All right.
I did it for villains.
Wait, what about the hat?
The hat doesn't fit on top of the headphone.
Oh, okay. Well, too bad. Anyway, we'll get a picture. We have to post a picture of you doing it
Okay.
with the hat. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I am Vanessa at Mind of Vans on Instagram and other social medias too.
And I am Sylvia from Maiden of the Forest Tarot. That is underscores between each one on Instagram. You can also find me on the TikTok. You pressed the right button. I'm amazed with you.
Wait. Nope. Oh, why don't we use that one? Nope. Nope.
Nope. Okay, now we're going too far.
That one. I like pushing buttons. Okay, that's enough.
That's a lot.
Bye, everybody. Mm-mm. For a minute, I thought I didn't press start. Oh, I had a...
You scare me every time you do this.
I scare myself.